Hey everybody, good afternoon and Merry Christmas and welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. Today I'm joined with Mike Penfold from Longreach Print. Hey Mike, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good to see you. And today we're going to talk about climate neutral printing because Longreach Print are a climate friendly company. But if we could start off, Mike, by perhaps you telling us how you got into print in the first place.
Yeah, it was a very different sort of thing. Now I was doing my A-levels and was going to Westminster College to work in catering.
Really?
Was what I was going to start doing. And some things changed. And a friend of my dad's asked if I wanted to go and have a look at do some, what do you call it? Do some work in a printing company.
Yep.
And I turned up and it was amazing. I just started looking around and thought this is really good. And an opportunity became for an apprenticeship, which gave me the option of a 4-year apprenticeship back in the day.
Yep.
So yeah, we had a long chat about it. We changed our tune, and I became a apprentice photolithographer.
Excellent.
So there you go.
It's very technical.
Very technical, yeah. That's when we used to use film and all kinds of things. And
I remember you telling me you thought it was quite a, I don't know if sexy is the right word, but quite a cool industry to get into and sort of quite fashionable at the time, really.
Yeah, so I worked in the reprographic side, which was very much the creative side of it all.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of work for Avon and Bachelor's Cup of Soups and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
So it was all about art, really. You were drawing and painting and stuff like that, which was very interesting stuff. But it took probably 18 months to 2 years to actually understand the process.
Yeah.
Because everything's backward in print.
Yeah, right.
Because if you think about, looking in a mirror type thing, that's how it all works.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got into it. And then once we moved away from that creative side, more into the sort of commercial side of how it all worked. So Apple Mac came in,
Yeah.
page makeup, and all that sort of side became very computerized. And then that's when I sort of found myself in a room staring at 4 walls and a computer screen,
Yeah.
which wasn't really my bag. So I decided to move over to the sort of management side, and with that I went into sales.
Right.
So I started selling when I was 23. My first sales appointment was at the Hyde Park Hotel.
Excellent.
But my boss at the time said that I had to drive a van and deliver. And there was a lovely old chap that used to run the car park at the Hyde Park Hotel. So he used to let me park a van in there, get in the back, change into my suit, run round to the front,
Excellent.
and go and have a meeting.
Excellent.
So yeah, they were my first customer, and it went on from there, really.
Fun memories, right?
Yeah, great fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, driving a Bedford Rascal van around London.
Yeah. Back in the day. And Longreach, how did that come about? Because they've been printing for 50 years now, right? Or over 50 years.
Yeah, 51 now.
Yeah.
So Longreach came about. I moved through a couple of different companies when I was selling, and I started working. But I'd always worked with friends and colleagues, people that I'd known. I'd never really been out on my own. And living in Tunbridge at the time, and Tunbridge being quite a densely populated area of printers.
Yeah.
So I sort of started looking around, and there was an advert for a sales manager at Longreach. And I applied for it. I got an interview. I turned up. I was there for 4 hours for an interview.
Right.
I turned up at 6, left there at 10 in the evening.
Wow.
After being offered the job and everything that I sort of wanted. And it started from there, really.
Yeah,
It was me going out on my own as such, because I wanted to move away from everybody that I knew in the trade and just sort of try and see if I could do it for myself. So yeah, went to Longreach, started there in 1999
Right.
as a sales manager, and then moved up to sales director. And then I bought my first shares in 2006. So yeah, it was a good sort of time for us, and the business was getting bigger and booming. So yeah. We worked through with that. So yeah, that was really good fun.
Good story. Yeah. So let's move on to the climate neutral printing and how that what's involved in that and what's around that. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, basically we've partnered with the Climate Partner, and one of the things that's really close to my heart and is to a lot of people's now is the feeling that we need to look after our country, our world,
Yeah.
the whole part of that. And carbon is one of the biggest issues in all manufacturing, not just print. And we introduced a new sales director last year, and he wanted to go down this road as well. He felt that it was a really strong thing. So the team as a whole really feel very strongly about it.
Yeah.
And the idea behind it is that we are working to offset all of the carbon that we use to produce your printed material whatever that might be.
Okay.
So yeah, it's all built in. And when we come to the end of it, you can actually use. There's a logo that can be put pretty much anywhere. It's on the product, whether it's a mailing or whether it's a brochure or a book, or even if it's packaging.
Yeah.
So when you give your clients their brochure about your particular product, whether that is or isn't climate friendly, at least the packaging and everything that you're selling, to sell it is.
Right.
So the idea about that is to go with that, and from there we've used we're basically working on the fact that everything that comes out of it is going into taking plastics out of the sea. Right. I think everybody saw the David Attenborough thing, and we all watched that and just thought, this is madness. So that's one of those things that it is a byproduct of this. So paper obviously is not plastic. We're not using any plastics in the production, and also we're trying to offset all the carbon that goes with that. So.
So the registered sort of that's the FSC logo that we were talking about earlier. Is that?
No, the FSC logo is so basically the carbon partnership is taken over from FSC.
Right.
FSC was something that came about probably 15, 20 years ago, where a lot of people were seeing rainforests being cut down and going out into the third world, into the sort of rainforests and stuff, and thinking, this is just out of order. So FSC came in to make sure that all paper and wood, basically anything that comes from a tree, is sustainable. And that they've done their job, because that is now, I don't know, even if you walk into a B&Q's or Superstore, something like that, you'll see an FSC logo on a bit of 4x2.
Yeah.
So, all paper, all wood, everything that comes into the UK is sustainable now. Yeah. So, really good.
And that situation where someone would walk into your factory and see a stack and a pile of paper in a corner, like you told me that your daughter did, and said, well, there's all this paper that's come from chopped down trees, that's not fair. But it is actually harvested for that, isn't it?
Yeah. My 15-year-old daughter came into the factory and there's 40 tons of paper in there for a very large job that we were doing for a client. And she started saying to me, Daddy, why have you cut down all these trees? This is outrageous. This is really wrong. And what's going to happen to all of this? And I sort of had to explain to her that the trees are grown to be harvested. If there wasn't a market for paper, then they wouldn't be grown at all. And most of our paper in the UK comes out of Scandinavia.
Right.
And for every one tree that is planted, for every one tree that's cut down, 3 trees are planted, so that they've got a harvest. And I was trying to explain it to her. We live very rural. And I said, if you look at the farmer behind our house, when he goes and plants the field for wheat, and then by the end of the 6-8 months later, he's then down there and he's harvesting it.
Put it all back in.
And then he replants it again, and then he does it again. And if he didn't replant it, he wouldn't have a crop to harvest the following year. So there's a reason for all of those things, and I think that is what I try to explain to her. So every tree that is cut down to be used for paper, there are 3 other trees planted at the same time.
Yeah.
So paper is a hugely sustainable source. Yeah.
That's a really important message to get out, so people realise that it is harvested and it's not just chopped down and used and never seen again. It's
I think you can go down the same sort of road as we wouldn't have cows if we all stopped eating meat.
Yes.
So we wouldn't have all the trees if we stopped using paper.
Yeah.
And it is a very it is a very sustainable source. So. Yeah, it's been well looked into in that industry.
Yeah, it's a good example. And the growth markets within the print industry, you talk about those because direct mail is really popular right now, and packaging obviously, and other bits and bobs.
Yeah, books. I think a lot of people sort of think that print's no longer a strong source. In the UK alone, in the last 3 years, the industry's grown by over £1 billion a year, which is quite big. So it's gone from 11.7 to 13.9 in the last couple of years. So it is a growth industry, and I think when you look around, you see things that are printed. It might be slightly different now into what we do, but there's an awful lot of stuff that is still printed, and it is a real direct source of marketing for people. Direct mail is a big growth industry at the moment. I think especially during this COVID sort of time that we're going through. People are looking at stuff and saying, well, how do I contact my clients?
Yeah.
Where are they now? We can't go in and see them. They might not be in their offices. If you want to run a direct mail piece. But it's about the variable data as well. So the data's got to be key. You've got to get the right piece and get the right right marketing design as well, what you want to get across to people. But also, I think you've got to make sure it goes to the right people. And we've done a few recently. And again, it doesn't have to be a massive thing. People look at direct mail and think, oh, you've got to do 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000. You don't have to do that. We run a campaign for a couple of local clients of ours, and we do 50 a week.
Yeah, right.
So we mail out 50
just
a
really
week.
targeted.
Just really targeted to what they want, and then they can follow those up, and then we just keep doing it. And we can up that number or down that number, and we can use different postcodes to work on where they want to be sort of looking at that particular time. If they've got a job in one area, or they want to be sort of, they feel that's a growth area for them, and we can sort of use the data that's available to work into that. So very, very much a strong piece. Probably better to do something more direct and targeted like that than just try and send out mass. I mean, we had one client very recently that got a response rate of 14.9% on a direct marketing piece that we'd produced with them. Used our data which we'd sourced for them as well. Whereas you look at something that is maybe a door drop or something, just a leaflet that goes into the postman, you're looking at under 1% for something like that. So
and probably a lot lower in digital marketing as well. I'm not sure what the stats are, but they possibly are quite lower in that as well.
And I think it sits hand in hand. So we call it cross media. I think you've got to get out across social media. You've got to get out on your websites. You've got to do a bit of email marketing, which is slowly sort of losing its space in the market. But if you send something that's tactile and hardcore that is a printed piece, then that's going to come back, and actually people may well keep that. They might put it up on their their stand or their desk or something like that for a later date. Whereas if it's just an email, it's gone. We all do it every morning, don't we? Ding 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 ding, delete. Get rid of them all. So. And
the print, I think it drives an emotional response. I think that much more popular. And also I read somewhere that the websites are really good, of course, but you can't put a website on a coffee table and read it, can you? So that's a bit different, isn't it? Which that shows you. But like you say, they work hand in hand together, don't they?
Yes, I think I think cross media is the way forward for every business. They need to be able to be visual on every front. But people do like to have a magazine, a brochure, or something that they're going to leave around. Maybe if they're getting a new car or something, leave the brochure on the side just so when the friends come round, they're looking at a new car or whatever. So there's a place for it all.
And then also. We spoke about the popularity of books amongst children and how educational that is, rather than looking on an iPad or let's not knock digital media too much, but that's a positive, isn't it?
I think that book printing is one of the biggest growth industries at the moment. I think a lot of people went away and decided to use a Kindle and stuff like that. But I think when you're on the beach or you've got the sun there and you can't quite see what's going on, but you want to actually have a book, and the physical tactileness of a book is something else. But I think in children it's very, very strong, because you can't tell at the moment if the kid, your child's on an iPad or a Kindle or a laptop, whether they're actually playing Minecraft or whatever, or they're on social media or whatever, or are they actually doing what they say they're doing. So book printing is really quite high on the market at the moment.
That's a good point. Let's get back to the climate stuff and about the waste. So the waste that is produced, because there must be some waste. Where does that go, and what happens with that?
We recycle 97% of our waste. Right. So print trade has always been very strong on that and always worked on that. But so 97% of what we waste in the job is recycled. All the paper is all the waste paper that we don't use in the actual product itself. And board goes back into recycling.
Okay.
And is recycled across the board to come back into product. And with all our plates of aluminium, so the metals are all remelted down and everything else. So 97% is recycled across the board. So it's a very sustainable industry at the moment, So,
and the sort of businesses that you want to help, I mean, and is there any sort of different markets to that, or what sort of things can you do for businesses at the moment?
Yeah, well, as I've said, the direct mail side of it is really quite good, and I think people, if you're in business at the moment and you've had probably quite a tough year, like everybody has, I think it's good to be able to get that out and get your message across to your clients. So if you want to talk about doing something like that and you think, oh no, I couldn't afford that, then come and talk to us, because we can tailor something exactly to what you want.
Right.
Which could be a monthly fee that you're just paying for a monthly fee, and it could be getting across to 50 or 100 or 200. But at the same time, if you want to do a massive direct mail piece across the country or even into Europe, then we can help you with that.
Okay.
Self-publishers, book printing,
Yeah, right.
all that sort of stuff. But packaging as well. Packaging is quite high on our lists at the moment of a growth part of the industry. And, you know, in real terms, you know, we're all looking at it now. We're all buying stuff online. We're not necessarily going to the shops. But everything you buy, whether it's in a shop or it's online, is all packaged.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we want to make sure that packaging is sustainable, is usable, and is climate friendly. So that's why we've come up with the whole climate friendly thing.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. The climate neutral thing is so apt right now, and it's a great ethos to have. So I really enjoyed talking to you about it, Mike. And so thank you for coming in today and sharing your approach on it, because it's really lovely to hear. All Mike's details are on the Brilliant Businesses website. You can get hold of him if you need him. There's his story on there. There's his website details, his phone number. If you've got any printing requirements, then call him. Packaging requirements, call him. So thanks again for joining us, Mike, and we'll see you all again soon.
Thanks very much. Cheers, Nick.
Cheers, mate. Bye.